Okay, so I gotta share the good news along with all my attitude. Okay, so this is how it's going now. And this is what is so crazy too, because remember I had said I was having communication and I was getting like there was a certain communication going, and then with my guides and stuff. And then once I got there, like how I said, everything just seemed to start going south. But that I kept being told like he was going to think about it, and like he would think about it, and like that they had sent me to the right person for me to quit my bullshit. And but I had to go through that purge yesterday. So see, I had to have it play out that way, because I swear to God, I did not know I had so much anger and resentment towards myself still. And and I just, man, I feel so compassionate for so many people who have put themselves through the Dr. Frankenstein factory. And like, well, man, I'm really worried about these girls with these injections and the necrotic tissue, and like, that is bad. That's like what happens with amputations and stuff. Like, what are they gonna have to start amputating girls' butts or something? Like, I don't even know. Like, all that muscle removed, like, I don't even know. Like, what the fuck? Give them antibiotics for the rest of their lives? Like, oh man. And then that they smell like dying tissue. Like, that is horrible. Like, and people go do this stuff because they're insecure to begin with. So, anyways, and and just all the medical stuff, that everybody has to jump through and everything. But anyways, so back to me. Back to me. So, so in my drive, I was feeling so positive. Like, this is fucking, I'm going home with no fucking plastic. I felt so fucking good. And then it started becoming like this dark cloud going over me once I got into the more chaos. And it was once I had noticed that thing on the navigation, how it said I was 23 miles away, but I was an hour still. That is when I started being like, ah. And I don't know. I just, things started to shift. I was going way out around the city and stuff. It was like, so, anyways, and, but I still kept being optimistic the whole time. I was being optimistic, talking to the doctor. I was pleading my case. And that was another thing too, is that they had said I was going to say all the right things. And, I was like, because I'll start like playing it out in my head. Okay, well, I'll say this, I'll say that. And they're like, you don't have to do that. You're going to say the right things because this happens. So this is all a bunch of stuff that you're doing that you don't need to do. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to focus. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Like, in these conversations that I'll have back and forth. And so then, get there, and then it was just like a huge disappointment. It was like so tense to get in there. I felt like I looked like a flustered, crazy person. And then always, the added thing with the insecurities, with the brain injury, because then I always feel like people are looking at me like, oh my God, she can't handle anything, can she? She gets lost in the elevator, and it's like, fuck, everybody knows. Like, I'm out here spinning, going up and down in the hall, like, where am I? Where am I? And so anyways, it was just like, it makes me, some things are hard for me to figure out sometimes. And so, anyways, I get in there, get into my appointment, and then you have to put on this thing, which says uncomfortable and awkward. I was already late, so I'm trying to fill out the papers. I couldn't see good. And it was just like, everything was like one line was touching the next line. It was like so jumbled up. And it was all this, have you had this? Have you had this? Have you had this? I was like, oh my God, that's all, everything is all about. Like, when you start like analyzing the information and what they're looking for and stuff, it's like, you can just, like, back in the olden days, you didn't go to the doctor and they'd ask you all that stuff. For one thing, your doctor would have known stuff about you, and your doctor would have taken care of stuff. And so, we just get passed around. And then, and it's corporation. I just called because I have to get the mammogram. And so I just called to the doctor's office to tell them to schedule that. And while I'm sitting there, like, it takes forever and ever and ever. Another thing, keep us on the phone forever, waiting on hold at doctor's offices that are all corporate owned, which they could have plenty of people. They could have a goddamn operating system. But, they're going to make sure, to make us, oh, they're so busy. They've got so much to do. What can I help you with? And, your health is a big problem. Just get on some drugs and you'll be fine. And so then but on the recordings, it just sits there about the sickness and how serious it is and what you have to do to take care of everyone in the world and all of this stuff. And I was like, oh my God. And see, in the people who they are programming, especially, are people who are probably hypochondriac, but hyper focused on their health and probably have health conditions. So it feeds into that whole drama in someone's mind or their entertainment of their life, like what they look at. So anyways, it is, it's like the corporation knows what it's doing, like, and how it does it. Because sometimes it's like, are they keeping this alive? Like, how do they keep this going? Like, it's so strange. And you'll be like going out and you see people all with these things on, and it's like, where are these people coming? Like, what is going on? And then you go call the doctor's office and you sit and listen to the recording. And it's like, oh my God. And then how many doctors just sit there and say this stuff to people? So people are just like, I don't know. It's just such a corporate script. So anyways, I called to get that mammogram. But so anyways, he called just a minute ago. And he said, it was so funny because, I'm having all these strange calls all the time of these people who want to get my house, which my kids think I'm a complete moron about this whole thing. Like, we'll see what the universe has planned. If I think I'm right and they're going to show them to trust the universe that, in this other kind of way by showing good things happening. And because they're all so like, oh, well, you should be doing this. Well, that's your own fault. Well, you should have been, it's just like, oh my gosh, they do not understand at all what I'm doing. They don't understand me at all. Like, that's a whole fucking thing. But, so anyways, I don't ever answer the phone. Never answer the phone. And I always let it go to voicemail. And, I was holding it, and it was a 206 number. It said Seattle. I was like, this is the doctor. I know it's the doctor. But I thought it was his assistant, the lady who's supposed to be figuring out the price. I thought this is who's calling for the price. I was like, oh man, do I just answer, or do I, and take a risk? So when it answered, or when I answered, it was like the third ring or something, maybe the fourth or whatever. And so I answered. I went all in, and so I answered, and right away, I say hello, and this person's like, hello, Kelly. And I hear a baby crying, and I'm like, oh shit, what the hell have I got myself into? Is this one of these salespeople? Like, what am I, like, what? And I go, who's this? And then he goes, oh, sorry, this is Dr. So-and-so. And I was like, oh, the baby crying through me. He goes, oh yeah, I'm at home, sorry. And, so he said he had been up all night thinking about it and looking at my pictures, and he kept thinking about it and thought I was the perfect candidate for what I'm asking. He said, like, you look like you can endure pain. I'm like, yeah. And, every tattoo, I've always been sober. I mean, I did a lot of them to myself. So, it's mind control. And so, anyways, he said that, he had been thinking about it, and he couldn't figure out like why he would have to sew the muscle down, really. And he explained like every single implant has like a capsule around it. And he said it's kind of like a slimy kind of thing that goes around it, and that kind of builds around it. And some people's get hardened. Mine's not hardened. But he said it's kind of slimy. And so sometimes he said it's hard to get it to adhere back. But see, use your mind control. This is where it's like, fuck. Like, that's where you sit in meditation and you keep picturing it and picturing it every night. And so, and this is a great chance a great opportunity. Like, this is so fucking exciting to me. And so, he said that, so he said he would do it. He will do the local. He said he still has to do it in an operating room, but I don't think I have to go to the surgical center. I think I get to do it at their office operating room, not in an office room, but I don't know. It might still be. I've still got to have them call and tell me. He said that they'll figure out the price. I have to get the mammogram. But he said, so what he's going to do is just going to make the little incision. He's going to pull pull it out and put a drain. He's going to put a drain. And he said the drain also adds in suction, which pulls it. So he had been thinking about it. Like, he had been thinking about it just like they had told me. They had told me that was what was going to happen. And so he thought about it and everything. And so he said that, like, he wants to put the drain, and that will pull a suction. And he said usually he would cauterize in there. He said, but that would be way too painful. But I was like, you know, because I mean, for all I know, like this, I'm like kind of mucusy, like I'm kind of a sebum spreader, like I've got earwax and stuff, which your hair is kind of like the same kind of stuff. So you have these secretions, and well, maybe I'm pretty secretion gummy, you know, and maybe that secretion that went around the capsule, went around the implant, is more gummy. And when I bind the chest, because when I was just over, I took Stella for a walk. And we were at the neighbor. She was over there playing. And the neighbor pulled up, and so we were out there chatting. And she was asking me what had happened. I was telling her, you know, I was disappointed. And, you know, I have to do all this so much more. And that makes it so much worse. And then it's like so much more. And I did tell him I have a 175-pound dog. And, yeah, but I didn't tell him anything about, I said, I can heal a lot of stuff. Like, I can heal a lot of stuff. I didn't go into detail because I didn't want to scare him off. Because if you say, like, oh, I healed Hep C, a lot of medical professionals would think, oh, automatically you're a drug addict or a prostitute. I've got tattoos, so it goes together. And so a lot of them don't think, like, oh, well, you know, she was a nurse and she was around all these sick fucking people, so probably that's how she got it, especially in the ER. You know, the blood and stuff and the people who you're dealing with. So anyways, whatever under the rug, dirt under the rug, whatever that saying is, water under the rug or water under the bridge, I think. And so anyways, so he said that, so when I was talking to the neighbor, I was like, I just don't get it though, because why would you have to stitch the muscle down if you're going to be binding it anyways? Because isn't that just like steri strips? Like, it's holding it down anyways, binding it. So I don't see why would it need stitches? Like, how would that help it? So anyways, that just sucks, man. You know, when I'm sitting there telling her, I come in and he fucking calls me. Like, he's fucking already, we're connected. And that isn't a thing too. Energetically. Like, I feel like I knew I was on his mind through the night. Because he had kept being on my mind. I kept feeling like he was drawn into thinking about it. And I don't know, you know, maybe it was like this temptation of doing something different, you know, maybe doing something that he hasn't done before yet. And then thinking it through, then it's like, yeah, but why haven't I done it? It makes sense, you know? So, and that's what I think it takes to make these changes in our medical, is for doctors to stop and think like, huh, what does make sense? Hold on. Hey, drama. I'm doing this right now. No, I'm not doing that, Miss Rowdy. So anyways, he said that he would tell the girl and she'll figure out the price and stuff. So then they'll call me and tell the price, and then I can set it up. And I just feel so excited. And I even have the deposit already paid, because the consultation goes towards the procedure if you get the procedure. So anyways, now I feel like, I don't know, I feel much more positive and optimistic, and even though I still have to have the chest band. And I still think I can't go and do all the lifting and stuff if I want to keep that muscle down. But he said he felt like that we could get the muscle to stay down. And I said, well, I'll wear the binder for a couple months. You know, I'll wear it all the time. You know, unless I was went out somewhere for a little while in a sundress or something. I think I could probably not wear it after a couple months or something, but I'll wear it all the time if I have to get it until it's completely healed. And then plus, though, a lot of doctors don't understand about mind control and using your mind to heal. And so, I don't know. I just feel super, super excited. And so anyways, I wanted to update about it because I didn't want it to be such a downer. Now it's like, oh my God, just flipped the other way. Like, oh, maybe this is when things will start flipping the other way. Maybe everything will start flipping the other way. And maybe this is when things will start going. Like, cause that was what I was like, having my bitch fit to the universe yesterday while I was driving home. Like, when are things going to start going right? Like, you know, you see all these things all the time. Everything's about to change. Everything's about to change. And, you know, you feel it. You can feel everything's about to change. You can see what the energy is that the universe is feeding and what is drying up. Like, there's two different energies. It's stoking the fire towards independence and freedom, and the fires are burning out, and the dependency and the so much about dependency is a part of what is burning off, because it is like people need other people to feel good about themselves. Like, they need you to say they're okay to feel good about themselves, so they're dependent on what you think of them. And that dependency is what has been used against us in the system to create such a dependent society, a dependent culture, where people literally don't see themselves as being able to take care of themselves. People have such a skewed idea of life or living or what we're doing here. And so it's I don't know, it's this awakening is so necessary so people can start to see and understand more. But now I'm feeling so much more optimistic too. And then with that, see, it makes me feel much more of like, okay, I don't need to worry about the house situation. It's another thing. They keep telling me, just trust. Everything's fine. Just trust. Like, the banks are going to, like, all this stuff is going to go down. And that is like, when I say any of this stuff to my kids, they just are like, they think I'm a fool. And it's like, they think I'm just a fool. Like, and then, you know, on top of the brain injury or whatever, that is what I always hear is just like, there's so much judgment. And I sit and think, like, where do I find support in this world? Where? Like, where somebody's like, oh, yeah, cool, good job. Yeah, do what you believe in. Keep going. Do how you want to do. You got to follow what's right for you. There's not that for me. I feel like I give that to people. But it's weird. It's like everybody else is more leans on the dark. And it's like, well, you should have done it this way. Well, you got to do it like this, or you're just not doing it right. Well, it's like a list of things, and, you know, I never fit into the list. I go against the grain. I march to my own drummer or my own beat or whatever. I'm like, I got all the sayings going, but I can't remember many of them. Can't remember them fully, but you know what I'm saying. And so, anyways, it is, and that is a state of independence when you can pull free of what everybody else thinks of you. And I know that the stuff, them doing that isn't because they're, you know, just hateful, judgmental people or something. It is because it's a part of me growing into independence. Because I think I had, as a mom, a lot of dependency on how my kids saw me. And it has been part of my learning journey and my healing to be able to stand and be like, okay, you know, you can all sit and call me a fool and make fun of me, and everybody can talk about me behind my back. That's fine. I'm okay. I'm okay. You know, and I feel like I'm okay, though, because I found all of you guys. Like, I found people who get me, who do don't look at me like I'm a fool. And even if you guys think it sometimes, like, most of you don't come in and say it. And so anyways, that gives us all the space to be able to learn and grow ourselves, because all this stuff is for us to access and for us to figure out and for us to grow independently. We're not supposed to be, that's another breaking free of dependency, is to be able to learn and grow independently. We don't all have to do it at the same time, the same speed. We can allow everyone to go at their own rate and figure their stuff out to themselves. And, that is such a big thing of what's going on right now in the universe anyways, is all these big storylines playing out. So much big stuff is playing out. It seems like, I've been busy, I think. Like, I had cooked Stella a roast on the stove. Like, I had it out there and I was thinking about, oh man, this is where, let's start thinking about how to cook it. And it's like, man, I don't want to put it in my little toaster oven. Yuck. And so then my frying pan was sitting there. I have these really cool stainless steel frying pan, or a whole set of pans. And which was an ex who wanted those so bad. I didn't know the value of them. And now it's like, dang, I'm glad I got these. And so, anyways, I was looking at it, I was like, and then it just comes into your head. It'll just show you. I was like, oh, okay. So just fry it, put in the stuff, and then put in some water and fill the carrots and potatoes and stuff around it. And then just set it on the stove and cook it on low heat for like 4 or 5 hours, just like I do with the beans. And it came out perfect. And so anyways, I was like, I was impressed with that. And plus she has a good dinner. Like, it looks like a good, meal. Like, if you were to open like a can of dog food, and it was like beef stew or something. And, so it looks like it is really good and like a special treat, because when I was at the grocery store, they had some roast marked down, and so it was black Angus meat or something. I was like, oh, Stella would like that probably. She always has chicken, and I used to always get her pork because it was cheap, but the doctor said that was making her too fat, even though she still is a little beefy. But But anyways, usually, so they told me to feed her chicken. So usually she has chicken. So when I saw that beef thing, because she'll have steak and some, like if we go someplace and barbecue, she always gets all leftover stuff, what people don't eat. All the dogs do. But, so anyways, she does like beef. And who knows what the hell it is. Like, that's the thing. It's like, oh my God, I'm glad I don't eat this stuff, but it still bothers me to be making it for her, when it's like, oh, what is this stuff? But so I was on TikTok, and like the other day, I remember when I said, like, I had seen this this person was walking through Seattle and showing, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks like what I would think like Venezuela or something, like how it is out on the streets and stuff. And I was like, this is wild looking. And so then I was like, I just thought it was strange. But now I just saw this. Like, I've heard all this weird stuff about New York anyways. Like, they've all got scooters. They ride, like, it's wild. But that's how a lot of these third world countries are. And a lot of these countries, they are even more trained to not care about each other. And it's dog eat dog. Like, everything's dog eat dog. We're just like, we're white collar dog eat dog. They're blue collar white dog eat dog. They've been out in the fucking shelters a little longer. We're just getting sent to the shelters, and we're just like, what? But weren't we faithful? Didn't we pay our way? And it's like, no, we're moving in these other blue collar ones. They work harder than you, and they're just trying to create so much fighting and stuff. And they've got so much going on in a few different places. Some weird shit going on. What was it? Amy just sent me something. Weird, if it was Pittsburgh again or something, Chicago, I don't know, one of those places. And or it was like, oh my gosh, they are totally, it was for measles. Like, now they've got a huge outbreak, they're gonna have to quarantine. It's like, oh my God. No, I don't know if they said about quarantine. I didn't listen to the whole thing, because I have my attention span is a little out of control. So, it takes me a lot to listen to every word, because I still, even if I sit there, my mind's somewhere else. And so so my mind was like, oh my gosh, so now they're going to set it up and say this sickness. So now we have to quarantine, we have to lock all these people because this, I mean, what a perfect way for their bullshit. It's like we should have seen it coming. We should have seen it coming. But so, but the fucking all their malarkey, nonsense, bullshit. And then but this lady, so she's in New York, and she had a thing out on the sidewalk, unless someone made this up, and they really were in another country or something. But so she has a thing where, you know, a skewer, like how they'll have like different meat on there. She just has rats skewered right on there. Big old ass rats just going around rotisserie. And then somebody said, well, I guess that's one way to do something with the rats in New York. Just start eating them. But, you know, like that, my lawyer that I had, there's so much corruption, so many criminals, man. So many disappointments. But so, but just before I knew that she was a criminal, is she had gone to Peru, and she was telling me about this trip, and she said that she went to like a village and went into the houses and was visiting people. She said you always take presents from here, like they always get excited, but then they always want to pay you back. So if you bring little trinkets and stuff from here, like they're like hairbrushes, pencils, like all different stuff that we take for granted that they don't get. And so when you take them, they get so excited, and then they want to repay you and give you something back. So they invite you for dinner. And she said that their kitchen, and the floors are all like dirt and stuff. And that's why I'm like, why are we so fucking uppity here? Like, why do we act like we can't live like how other people live? Like, what's wrong with us? And so, like, we would be more like, oh my God, that's so below me. It's like, ugh. So, anyways, she said in the kitchen, which is a lot more rudimentary than what we're used to in most of the bigger cities that we're being controlled in now. You know, just like, because all of these different, like somebody's talking in comments about what's going on in Australia, and the same stuff in England and here, I think in Scotland and Britain, like Ireland, like there's a whole bunch, like the places that they haven't turned third world yet, like they're just, we're under a certain kind of attack. And so anyways, she said that they had guinea pigs. So what we keep as guinea pigs in a cage to play with as pets, that's what they eat for food. And they just have like a little cage in their kitchen where all the guineas are just over there playing and stuff. And then when it's dinner time, they just go get one, bop it on the head, and cook it up. She said that's just how they do it. And so, yeah, if that is really true, that they just were catching the rats and putting them on the rotisserie, wouldn't surprise me at all, because I mean, that's probably good eating. Those are probably some big ass rats. Like, I've heard about these New York rats. It was like watching those things go by. It's like, there's a fucking meal right there. They probably got other people's from other countries lining up like, hell yeah, tacos right there. Let's fucking rotisserie that shit up. I'll buy it. Because they're not feeding these people. And in Denver, you know, they just kicked them all out of those fucking big old hotels and shit. And then a big snowstorm came in. Like, you could see this shit happen. Like, they were doing all this shit on purpose. They just, it's like one thing after another. So, anyways, you know, who knows what is next. I'm hoping that my implants will be all, like, I got to see what the price is. Because then I was kind of in a mood this morning. I did a little shopping. But it was like, it was funny because I had, like, I keep buying dresses. I've got a problem, but there's other things like what they tell me and stuff. So it seems fine, like from what my guides tell me. That's what they want me to do, and it was the whole thing, you know. But it would just sound too crazy, so I don't want to talk about it yet. But anyway, so I had these dresses and I was so upset about the boobs. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck with these things for longer. How long am I going to be stuck with these things? They don't fit in my clothes. Probably after, well, I'm going to keep focusing on them healing really good. And then maybe some skin, but look, there's duct tape, whatever. But I could end up being like super disappointed. I was like, dang, this really is some sad, saggy stuff. But it's like, it's just natural. So that's the way it's got to be. It's got to be. And so anyways, I was in there trying on my dresses. I was like, oh, is this one even going to work? Because a lot of them, I'll like put them on and it's like way too much. And it's like, but I'll be like, okay, but I'll like it when I don't have that problem, when it just looks normal and it's not like, va va boom, here I come, people. It's like, I'm not into that. I'm not a va va boom person. So then I was like, okay. So I went back in to reassess the dresses and I was like, going back over it, and then got me to shopping, and then I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to be just happy. I'm just going to do stuff and be happy, get some damn dresses, make plans. I'm going to go out and wear these dresses and whatever. I'm not going to let my boobs affect me in this way. I'm not going to let them bother me. I'm just going to let it go. And so that's what I did. Except for, I didn't let go of my emotions and stuff. Like still when the neighbor asked me, I was still purging out that shit, like frustration and like, and I'm trying to understand, like, I don't understand why, if it's bound, like that's the whole thing behind like steri strips and stuff, why they stop, like, all you gotta do is tape it down and let the edges adhere. And there's a lot of cases even where they think that things adhere better with less trauma and less stuff, like even with the lidocaine, like I'm gonna get all these lidocaine shots and, but that is going to irritate the tissue. So where the stitches are, or however he ends up closing it up, I think he probably is going to stitch it. And then, because he's got to drain and stuff. So, but all the lidocaine and stuff. So then, it will be more irritated in its healing. But again, that is where you got to go and sit and put your mind on the healing. Go into the area, picture it healing. Focus on how to it getting better, and I don't know. Well, let's see. We'll just see how this keeps rolling. Now I feel like that everything just all of a sudden shook up and went the other direction, and so now it's like, oh my gosh. And I was saying that. I told my fucking guides that too. I was still whining around this morning after, and I was like, yeah, well, it'd be nice to see something. Actually see something. Not just have to always hear it in here. To actually see something happen. And then something good. And it was something that they had told me. Because any time when they're telling me stuff and I'm, not listening or whatever. And then, or not acknowledging or whatever. And then once it goes around, just like that same thing is like, well, I told you to take an umbrella today, didn't I? I told you what you were going to need this morning when you left. But did you take it? No. So anyways, it's like that kind of thing. And the more you get into getting into the groove of just listening, it's like you're just going at the game differently. You're just like tuned into like the direction and talking. And then, I don't know, probably I'm like way too much in the communication with them because it's me and Stella, and so I talk to her. You guys hear me talk to her. I talk to her like she's a person, and probably because that's how I look at her anyways, and I think she's smart, and so yeah, I treat her like she's a soul, and so I talk to her, talk to the neighbor, and I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I don't even know why I'm talking about that. I don't even remember, but anyways, this is an emotional roller coaster. Now I feel like this is where I start getting that bipolar feeling, like I'm going way down and way down and way sad, and then it just bounced back. But you can't just go too into the sadness. You got to see like when things aren't going your way, there's a reason. There's a reason it's not. And it's not because they're trying to disappoint you. It's because there's something else to play out. And, maybe, just the fact that that guy sat there and thought about that all night, thinking about the surgery, reanalyzing it, evaluating it, even looking at my pictures, because then, you see the tattoos too. So every time he's looking at my boobs, he's seeing the tattoos. He's like, yeah, this girl could handle some pain. This girl's not wuss. And I'm healthy. He even said, like, I don't have any health issues or anything. I don't have any kind of stuff. There's nothing that would, and I feel like I have pretty good mind control with healing. I mean, we'll be putting it more to the test, but anyways, I feel super optimistic. I feel super excited, and so we'll see how this keeps going. And I feel like maybe this is my wave. This is my wave of picking up for things to start going in my favor. Because that is like, I know we've all, especially if you've been doing the work. I know a lot of people think, well, I've been doing it for a whole year. And it's like, fuck. Don't start complaining if you've only been doing it a year. Like, once you get up 5-6 years, like, I mean, it just becomes like a way of life. It becomes a way of how you look at things, how you process things. Like when something's not going good, it's like, okay, it's like doors are closing, there's something else going on. And then when you're getting the waves of emotion, it's like, okay, I feel them, I see what's happening. Like you start processing through all of this emotions and stuff that's coming up. Because that is what is happening, is this opportunity to release that stuff. And so it's, letting go of that. And then being able to just let go of it and be like, okay, well, whatever, if I got to wait for the med bed, I'll wait for the med bed. And, I know it's in my future. Like, I know that I'm, not bound to these things for the rest of my life or something. And, I just know there's going to be lots of shifts and lots of changes. And it's still, even with my kids, it's just always a argument. Well, you've been saying this so long. Yeah, but things are still in movement. There's still stuff happening. It's not like I said it and then everything just stopped and I keep saying it. No, shit keeps going. Everything is still spinning tighter and tighter, out of control, out of control, out of control. And so, yeah, this is going on. This is happening. And like, I don't know. But there's so many people that are just so like, the system's all we got. It's like the mom and dad of them, like the soul. It's all we got. This is all we got. You just got to follow the rules. Just follow the rules so everybody can be happy. It's like, you guys, nobody's supposed to be fucking telling you the damn rules. Nobody's rules override your rules. Your rules are just as important as anybody else's rules. There's nobody here to be over anybody else. And the people that do go over somebody else, that's bad karma. That's not good. Like, fuck. Like, I don't know how to get people to see. God. And we try and talk about stuff on a spiritual level. It's like Zoom. Like, nobody gets what the fuck you're talking about. Like, God. The awakening's got to happen just so people can understand shit on a normal level. Because they're all looking at things in this distortion. It is like the end of the illusion. The end of the distortion. You got to start seeing what this place is, what you're doing here, why you're here. Quit trying to everybody be the same. And just do what, just do it because that's what you're supposed to do. It's like, no. It's like, fuck. I've been going against what I'm supposed to do my whole fucking life. I'm not stopping now. And, my kids haven't known me my whole life, so, I don't know. But you got to keep standing for who you are. You can't just start being like, okay, well, everybody thinks I'm crazy. Everybody thinks this. Everybody thinks that. So I'm just going to, no. If everybody thinks I'm crazy and stuff like that, I'm way more be like, I'll just go live out on a beach somewhere. I don't have to see anybody. I don't give a shit if they all can think I'm crazy, and I'll just live out there and be the crazy lady on the beach with all the dresses. So, anyways, whatever. Whatever happens. Like, I got no problem. I'll go live in Peru in the fucking mud hut thing. I can live in a mud hut. Some people, they couldn't handle it. I can handle it. I can live in a mud hut. I can live different. Like, I'm not all bougie or all uptight or whatever. Like, there's other ways to live, and I can handle it. And so I don't know what's to come, but you know, I just gotta keep riding the. It's like riding a float, though. It's like you're on a float. There's parts where it's like going crazy, and then there's parts where you just gotta relax, and then it'll go crazy, and then just relax. Right now, I feel like it's like kind of floating, even though to other people around, you know, it seems like I'm oblivious to the chaos. I'm oblivious to, like, you should be packing. You got serious problems. You should be packing. You should be figuring something out. And, you know, or calling that guy, which, you know, I may still do it. I just don't want to rush. Like, I used to be very, well, I struggle with impulsive problems. I'm impulsive. And so I don't want to do that about this. I really want to take it slow, because it is, you know, if it is like right at the crash, and, you know, I sold it and then I had to leave, then I have nowhere to go. And who knows what's going to happen after the crash. So if the crash happens, then I still have a place. And then once, you know, shit starts, you know, it's like a crash. And then once it's like cleaned up or stable, once there's more of a stability that happens, because it's going to go very unstable real quick. And then once it's more stable, then it's like, I'm going to be moving, you know, I'm going to be going. And once, you know, maybe that would be, if I do get the surgery in the next couple of weeks or something, then, you know, maybe I'll just sit here and just start packing stuff up, going through stuff. Like, I don't know. I mean, I could get served today. Like, I could have a fucking cop show up. Like, I have no idea what is, you know, what the plan is, what the universe has planned, what I've planned for myself in this trip. But no matter how frustrating it is, you just got to keep going, you know. And I don't know. It's like you got to learn that you're not your enemy. You are your God. You're not your enemy. And it's like you have to come into that kind of relationship with yourself, so you don't feel like everything is just fucking you and sucks. And then also realize too, when you start feeling so like that it is, I'm gonna call, is, and I had it on Do Not Disturb, and it's weird. It keeps not, there's so many of my things are not working right. It's weird. But anyways, so the, second, let me think what I was saying. It's always distracting and throws my mind. So anyways, whatever is going to go down is going to go down. And however it goes down is the way it's supposed to go down. And there is, but people always think like God's out to get them when things aren't going right. And, you know, and it is hard to go through that stuff when things aren't going right. And it is easy to feel like you're the victim here. You know, you can't tap out. You can't just get out of the game just because you want out of the game, just because things are hard. But like I said, that's why you can't get out easy, is you have a set time. It's like, I see like a going, like a trip, like underwater in a mask thing. And then you go down on that dive, and you have that much time on your tank. That is kind of like what it's like when you come in to be birthed into the experience. You have that much time. Everybody's time is different, but that is your time. It's whatever's on your tank. When your tank runs out, it's out. But that is where we're this time of change, because that went with the old game. But with the new game, it's going to be different, because we won't be going by old things. We won't be going by old time. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be changing. But, you know, I just know a lot of stuff changes, but there's always the things that create the change. Like, I don't know all the details of everything that is going to go. I just know, like, there's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff up ahead. But we have a lot of challenges to get there. But the challenges are what is makes the good stuff appear. So the challenges are the necessary means to get to where we want to be. So, and it's just once everybody starts getting on board with their challenges are there for them because they're doing their part in the universe to make a better world. And so now I'm getting another call. I think this is a doctor. So anyways, love yourself, love everyone, and have a loving day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.